In an alternate Earth, humans create lifelike robots called synthetics or synths embedded with advanced AI. These synths integrate seamlessly into daily life, adopting human faces scanned and volunteered by individuals. Evolving beyond mere workers, synths become companions, athletes, and even law enforcers. In 2055, a government-designed synth triggers a devastating nuclear explosion in Los Angeles, leading the Western world to unite in a complete AI ban. New Asia, however, embraces synths as equal citizens. The United States launches a relentless campaign against synths, attacking New Asia to eradicate them. The Nomad, a colossal space station, is their key weapon, scanning and swiftly eliminating synths. The Army's primary goal is to locate Nirmata, the leader behind AI advancements. A decade later, American soldiers appear on New Asia's coast as Nomad scans the skies. In the neighborhood, Joshua resides with his expecting wife, Maya, who bears a distinctive tattoo. A sudden disturbance prompts Joshua to equip his robotic limbs and investigate. Their synth companions, led by Harun, arrive with an unexpected visitor, an American soldier named Drew, caught sneaking into the area. Despite a beating from a synth in an attempt to extract information, Drew remains tight-lipped as the ominous presence of the Nomad draws nearer. The group resolves to flee and secure a new hideout. Harun's team hastens to prepare boats while Maya gathers essentials. Left alone, Joshua confronts Drew for not divulging more information. Shockingly, Drew reveals he's an undercover American soldier and also Maya's spouse, having married her because she is Nirmata's daughter. Tensions escalate. As synth and American soldiers converge, gunfire erupts outside. Joshua seizes Drew's radio, pleading with the commander to cease the raid since Nirmata isn't present. Maya overhears, dismayed to learn Joshua hadn't truly left the army as promised. She trains her gun on him, interrupted by soldiers who forcibly remove Joshua from the house. Maya flees and seeks sanctuary among the synths on the boats. In a tragic turn, Nomad launches a fatal missile, extinguishing their lives in an instant. 5 years later, Joshua, haunted by past tragedies, struggles to adapt to civilian life in the USA battling PTSD. He diligently takes medication and attends therapy where he's monitored for honesty using a lie detector. Employed at Ground Zero, tasked with cleaning, his routine is disrupted when he encounters a dormant robot that unexpectedly activates, evoking a visceral reaction in his colleague. Joshua, dismissing any semblance of emotion in machines, swiftly shuts it down before disposal. At home, Joshua immerses himself in memories of Maya, especially her role in customizing his lost robotic limbs, a painful reminder of the day he lost his entire family to the LA nuclear disaster. Seeking solace, he takes a swim, only to be approached by General Andrews and Colonel Howell, who seek his assistance for a new mission. In a critical revelation, it's disclosed that Nirmata is crafting a superweapon capable of neutralizing Nomad, a potential game-changer in the ongoing conflict. Joshua, possessing knowledge of the lab's layout, is urged to lead a team on a mission to destroy this ominous development. Initially resistant due to the past grievances of his wife's demise and the disruption of his mission, Joshua's resolve falters when shown a holographic video by Howell, seemingly revealing Maya's involvement in the superweapon's creation. Under the shroud of night, Joshua reluctantly joins Howell's team, embarking on a flight to New Asia. As Nomad scans the surroundings, the team touches down in a field, only to discover a village erected atop the supposed location of the lab. Faced with a dilemma, the soldiers aggressively interrogate the locals, coercing them into submission at gunpoint. In a tense moment, McBride's threat to a child's pet prompts the little girl's distress, inadvertently directing attention to an altar. Joshua discerns a hidden entrance to the lab concealed within a totem's manipulation. McBride and Bradbury stand watch outside while the team heads into the lab. Inside, they move along a long hallway, finding and taking down the technicians. Joshua checks the security cameras, hoping to spot Maya. The team continues their mission, targeting more scientists, but the workers activate locked, tough doors. Joshua explains that these doors need facial recognition to open, so a soldier uses a knife to take a dead technician's face. Meanwhile, Bradbury spots approaching police and fires missiles before pretending to surrender. Her missiles unexpectedly wipe out all the synths, causing a standoff with the police. As more officers arrive and open fire on Bradbury, she seeks cover. Inside the lab, the team reaches a locked vault that requires hacking. Shipley and Joshua work on unlocking it while the others rush to confront incoming guards. As the fight intensifies, Shipley leaves to assist the team facing the guards. As the vault finally unlocks, Joshua steps inside, stunned to find a child synth sitting on a couch watching TV, a technological advancement he'd never encountered before. Suddenly, A scientist shoots Joshua and helps the child escape through an emergency exit, instructing her to find Nirmata. The child emerges from the lab, witnessing the outside world for the first time, but also the chaotic warfare in the field. Joshua follows, scanning the fleeing scientist for Maya, but she's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the team heads back to the plane, conceding their loss in the fight and the imminent threat from Nomad. However, Howell, driven by a need to investigate further, departs alone. Bradbury, sprinting to return to the plane, is struck from behind. Despite managing to board, she discovers a bomb attached to her body, detonating midair, causing the plane to crash close by. Nomad launches its attack, incapacitating Joshua amidst the chaos. The following morning, Joshua regains consciousness on a boat and notices the robot girl fixated on him. Attempting to shoo her away, he tosses a rock, only to have it returned by the persistent girl. Investigating the area, he discovers a wounded Shipley. Wary of the searching cops, Joshua carries Shipley to an unoccupied home for safety. A noise reveals the kid has trailed them, now engrossed in watching TV. Despite Joshua's attempts to turn it off, the child effortlessly reactivates it with a simple gesture, unveiling her as the superweapon. In the midst of this revelation, Joshua's communicator rings with a call from Howell, drawing the attention of a nearby farmer synth. Joshua informs Howell about the child, prompting the colonel to order her termination. However, their conversation is abruptly cut off as Howell is surrounded and arrested by the police, thrown into a van with McBride and Officer Bui. Back with Joshua, faced with the moral dilemma of shooting a child, he hesitates, particularly when he notices the girl drawing Maya's tattoo. Their moment is disrupted by the farmer, who promises to safeguard Alfie, the robot girl. Joshua's translator exposes the synth's plot, prompting him to act decisively by shooting the farmer. However, this move attracts the attention of the police. In a desperate bid for information, Joshua questions Alfie about Maya's whereabouts, learning she's in Diane Dang. As the cops surround them and open fire, Joshua hastily guides Shipley and Alfie into a nearby truck. Amidst the chaos, a police-thrown grenade is intercepted by a brave dog, causing a fiery explosion that neutralizes the officers. Seizing the opportunity, Alfie uses her abilities to activate the truck, allowing the trio to escape. Meanwhile, McBride and Howell eliminate Bui, taking control of the van as they set out to find Joshua. Later, Shipley, in dire need of medical attention, demands help from Joshua. Realizing they're too far from an American base, Joshua intends to take Shipley to see a friend. Tragically, Shipley succumbs to his injuries in the truck. As a car approaches, Joshua conceals Alfie's robotic head under a hat, christening her Alfie due to the Alpha Omega inscription on her ear. In a tense encounter after car stops, Joshua coerces the driver at gunpoint to head towards the city. McBride and Howell stumble upon the abandoned car and Shipley's lifeless body. Howell attempts to transfer Shipley's consciousness into Bui's synth body briefly, but Shipley, overwhelmed by panic, only manages to mention Joshua's intention of taking him to see a friend before fading away again. As evening falls, their car encounters a checkpoint due to wanted posters for Joshua and Alfie. Joshua hides while Alfie faces scrutiny from a curious cop. Alfie triggers a blackout, creating a distraction with sparks, and deftly manipulates the car to navigate through the chaos, successfully evading the authorities. Howell and McBride receive news of their escape via the police frequency. Simultaneously, an officer resembling Bui discovers the bodies at the roadside. In the city, Joshua attempts to inquire about Diane Dang from Alfie, but she remains unresponsive to his queries. Amidst the approaching cops, Joshua rushes Alfie onto a train for an escape. On the journey, he spots several synths resembling Maya, wearing her donated face. Alfie, inquisitive about existence, sparks a conversation on morality and heaven. Joshua doubts his worthiness for heaven, feeling undeserving, while Alfie, grappling with her identity as a synth, questions her own eligibility. Drifting into sleep, Joshua reminisces about the day Drew tasked him to marry Maya for intelligence gathering, providing a wedding ring implanted with a unique tracker. Exiting the train in the evening, they encounter their wanted posters plastered across city screens. As a citizen tips off the police, Joshua guides Alfie to a synth factory to meet his friend, revealed to be Drew. Contrary to their previous encounter, Drew has become pro-AI and romantically involved with a synth named Cammy. Joshua seeks Drew's help to extract Maya's whereabouts from Alfie, but the child's data is heavily encrypted. When Joshua suggests tracking Maya's ring, Drew divulges that she's deceased, but Joshua refuses to accept. In a tense moment, while Cammy engages Alfie, Drew reveals to Joshua the outcomes of his investigations. Drew is evolving and gaining the ability to expand her powers, foreseeing eventual remote control over all technology. Alfie senses an impending visitor, but it turns out to be a mere food delivery. However, the delivery guy, actually the alternate Bui, activates a lethal bomb, killing Cammy. Cops swarm in, attempting to seize Alfie, but Joshua intervenes, engaging in a fierce firefight, even targeting Bui's face. Alfie remains composed, engrossed in watching TV. As more police close in, Joshua, Alfie, and a grieving Drew make a swift escape, narrowly evading the approaching officers. Inside the building, among the searching synths, two cops, Howell and McBride, reveal their identities. Howell seizes Cammy's head, intending to hack into it. Later, Drew's computer traces the ring's location back to Joshua's former residence. In a rush, Joshua rushes into his flooded former home, only to discovering the ring amid the water. While reviewing security footage of the attack, Alfie warns him of approaching soldiers, leading Joshua to lash out in frustration. Seeing Alfie's tears, he finally perceives her as more than just a machine, embracing her in apology. Drew enters to alert them of the impending attack but is tragically shot down. In his last moments, Drew discloses a shocking truth. Maya is Nurmeda, the reason for the past attack, concealed due to Joshua's love for her. Despite attempting to flee with Alfie, they're swiftly captured by synth soldiers under Harun's command, leaving Joshua unconscious. That night, Joshua experiences vivid dreams of meeting Maya and her upbringing among the synthetics, nurtured by their affection after her father's departure during the war. Upon awakening in a cell on board a ship, Harun reveals further revelations. Maya, known as Nurmeda after her father's passing, created Alfie to counter Nomad's threat. In a revelation, it's disclosed that the nuclear bombing in LA was a human-made programming error falsely attributed to the synths. The synth forces, if victorious, seek peace and don't harbor intentions of retribution against the Western world. Leveraging Joshua's desire to find Maya, the army aims to use him as a guide to locate her. Harun contemplates killing Joshua, interrupted by the sudden chaos caused by Nomad's attack on their base. Seizing the opportunity, Joshua implores Alfie to assist his escape, diving into the sea to evade the soldiers' gunfire. Concealed beneath the boat, Joshua evades detection as the vessel departs, heading toward the city. There, Joshua observes a peaceful coexistence between synths and humans, witnessing people mourning fallen robots and educators teaching the concept of peaceful cohabitation to children. Under the cover of night, Joshua seizes a chance to incapacitate Harun, placing him in standby mode. Attempting to flee with Alfie on a boat, their escape is thwarted by the imminent arrival of the Americans, signaled by an alarm. Massive tanks wreak havoc, obliterating buildings and unleashing chaos, prompting Alfie to depart from Joshua's side to aid her people. The conflict escalates, resulting in heavy casualties on both sides. Howell deploys destructive robots, causing further devastation, but Alfie intervenes, halting one of the walking bombs with her powers. Tragically, McBride disables Alfie, compelling an enraged Joshua to retaliate. As Alfie lies unconscious, the reactivated bomb threatens destruction, compelling Joshua to flee with the child before the bridge collapses. Harun offers to escort Joshua to see Nurmeda to repair Alfie, while the conflict rages on. Nearby, Howell resurrects Cammy to extract information, ending her life once again. During their journey, Harun discloses a startling revelation. Alfie was created from Maya's scanned embryo, resembling Joshua's deceased child. Eventually, monks take Alfie to a secluded temple, prompting Joshua to inquire if it's Diane Dang. In the temple, a monk elucidates the meaning of Diane Dang as heaven, revealing Maya's demise. A grief-stricken Joshua discovers Alfie by Maya's inert body, linked to a sustaining machine. Another monk clarifies that Maya has remained in that state for 5 years, technically not alive, sustained solely by the machine. As the synths are prohibited from harming Nurmeda, the responsibility falls to Joshua to disconnect her. Tearfully apologizing, Joshua deactivates the machine, ending Maya's prolonged existence. Amidst this moment, the arrival of the Americans initiates chaos. Howell enters, aiming at Joshua, commencing the download of Maya's consciousness into a chip. Harun intervenes, shooting Howell, triggering a deadly chain reaction. Alfie activates a bomb, obliterating Howell and the two soldiers. Surprisingly, Harun rises, urging Joshua to obliterate Nomad before departing with Alfie and Maya's chip. Their escape is short-lived as the Americans swiftly locate and seize them, forcibly separating Joshua and Alfie before Nomad engulfs the area in destruction. In the LA base, Andrews commands Joshua to terminate Alfie due to her unyielding silence. Joshua, pretending to comply, whispers to Alfie, prompting her vitals to seemingly plummet, convincing Andrews of her demise. As they head towards the incinerator, Alfie reveals she's unharmed, Joshua had simply instructed her to go into standby mode. During their escape, Alfie manipulates their vehicle, causing a crash to obstruct pursuit. Utilizing her powers, she grants them passage through the spaceport's security, facilitating their escape on a plane. Despite Andrew's orders to turn back, Alfie manipulates the plane's controls, guiding it toward Nomad after ensuring the civilians' safe disembarkation. Upon the guards' intrusion, Joshua initiates a vacuum by opening the plane's door, ejecting the guards into the sky. Subsequently, Joshua prepares an explosive, triggering Andrews to plan a massive attack on synth bases in retaliation. As the missile's ready for launch, Joshua entrusts Maya's chip to Alfie, tasking her to halt the impending attack while he sets up the explosive. Rushing through corridors, Alfie navigates to the control room, employing her powers to halt the missile launch just in time. Meanwhile, Joshua plants the bomb, setting it to detonate in 10 minutes. During her return, Alfie takes a wrong turn and stumbles upon a chamber filled with dormant synths, one bearing a striking resemblance to Maya. Quickly, she extracts the chip, attempting to activate it within the synth, but to no avail. A few missiles break through, devastating robot villages. As Joshua's oxygen supply dwindles, Alfie rescues him, guiding him to an air-filled room while she prepares an escape pod. In a final act of desperation, Andrews unleashes a colossal octopus-like robot that seizes Alfie. In a swift move, Joshua deactivates the escape pod, severing the robot's grip on Alfie. Despite Andrews' impending attack, the robot seizes Joshua, but Alfie manipulates it, forcing it to release him before causing its downfall. Amidst the chaos, the bomb detonates, causing the Nomad to erupt. With the pod's door compromised, Joshua and Alfie struggle with it as the explosion draws near. Realizing their fate, Joshua bids farewell to Alfie, promising to meet her in another realm before releasing the pod. As he steps away, expecting the end, he encounters the Maya synth, sparking a rush to each other's arms, sealing their love with a final kiss as the explosion claims their lives. Meanwhile, Alfie's pod safely descends to Earth, joining the celebratory gatherings of the synthetics who revel in newfound freedom after the Nomad's destruction. And with this, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for tuning in, guys.